Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time we're going to be tackling the world of sales
Okay.
with entrepreneur Alex Hormozi as our guide.
Sound good?
We got his 4-hour YouTube video,
Yeah.
chock full of wisdom, and our mission is to uncover those underlying principles of selling that truly make a difference.
Yeah, it's interesting how we often just limit our view of selling to just closing deals and handling objections.
Right.
But Hormozi really challenges that by suggesting that selling is actually less about tactics and more about a mindset.
Okay, so for the average person, what does that even mean? How do we shift from thinking about selling as a one-time event to thinking about it more as an ongoing process?
He actually compares it to coaching. A good coach doesn't just tell you what to do. They understand your goals, they build a relationship with you, and they guide you toward success.
So selling is more about understanding someone's needs and helping them make a decision that benefits them.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about creating a win-win scenario where both parties feel good about the outcome.
He even talks about selling from your back foot, like embracing the possibility of no and not being attached to the outcome.
Right.
That seems very counterintuitive to what we think of selling as. But I can see how it would take a lot of the pressure off and allow for a more genuine interaction.
Absolutely. It's about shifting the focus from desperation to genuine helpfulness.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable with no, then you can approach the entire interaction with much more authenticity and focus on building trust rather than pushing for a sale.
And this idea of trust keeps popping up. It seems like it's the foundation for Hormozi's entire sales philosophy.
Yeah, he really emphasizes that people can just sense when someone is trying to manipulate them versus when someone's genuinely trying to help them.
Right. We've all experienced that pushy salesperson who just wants to make a quick buck.
Exactly.
It can be a real turnoff.
Yeah, and building trust is about demonstrating that you have the other person's best interests at heart.
So how do we actually practically do that? How do we build that trust and get people excited about what we have to offer? He believes it starts with authenticity.
Okay.
If you genuinely believe in what you're selling, that passion will be contagious.
Okay, so it's less about slick sales tricks and more about genuine enthusiasm.
Exactly. Think about it. When someone is truly excited about something, their energy is infectious.
Yeah.
It makes you want to learn more and be a part of it.
It's like that friend who raves about a new restaurant.
Yeah,
Their excitement makes you want to try it, even if you weren't even thinking about food before.
that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Hormozi suggests tapping into that same energy when selling.
Okay.
If you're convinced you have something valuable to offer, that conviction will resonate with the prospect.
So how do we translate this genuine belief into tangible actions during the sales process?
Hormozi is a big proponent of asking the right questions,
Right.
but not in an interrogative way.
Right.
It's about demonstrating a genuine curiosity and a desire to understand the prospect's needs and challenges. So instead of pushing your agenda, you're engaging in a conversation, trying to uncover their pain points and see if your product or service can truly help.
Precisely. And that's where his concept of turning obstacles into qualifying questions comes in.
Okay, give me an example of that.
So imagine someone says, I just want to learn more.
Right, a classic line.
Instead of launching into a generic pitch, you could ask, what are you hoping to achieve by learning more?
Okay.
That shifts the conversation from a passive information dump to a targeted exploration of their specific needs.
Makes a lot of sense by understanding their motivations. You can tailor your approach and demonstrate that you're truly listening.
Right.
But what happens when these initial inquiries turn into objections?
Yeah.
How does Hormozi handle the classic, I need to think about it, or it's too expensive?
That's where his approach gets really interesting.
Okay.
He doesn't see objections as roadblocks. He sees them as opportunities to delve deeper.
So it's not about having the canned response for every single objection. It's more about really understanding the root of their hesitation.
Yeah, he encourages a mindset of childlike curiosity.
Okay.
Instead of getting defensive when someone raises an objection, he suggests responding with something like, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. It's disarming, and it allows you to uncover the real reasons behind their resistance.
So by approaching objections with curiosity rather than defensiveness, you can turn a potential conflict into a collaborative exploration of their concerns.
Exactly. And this ties back to selling from your back foot. You're not pushing, you're guiding.
Right.
You're not forcing a sale, but you're helping them understand if your product is truly a good fit for their needs.
Okay, so this is all starting to make sense, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface of Hormozi's sales philosophy.
I think so too.
We've explored the importance of belief, turning obstacles into questions and reframing objections as opportunities for deeper understanding.
Right.
But how do we actually translate this mindset into actionable closing techniques?
Yeah.
What are the specific steps to mastering the art of the close?
That's where the real magic happens. And that's what we'll dive into next.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so we laid the groundwork with belief obstacles as questions and reframing objections.
Right.
But now let's get to the heart of it.
Yeah.
Closing the deal.
Yes.
What are some of Hormozi's secrets for mastering this crucial stage?
He stresses that a lot of salespeople they fumble at the finish line.
Mm.
They've built rapport, they've addressed concerns, but then they just hesitate to actually ask for the sale.
Yeah, it's like they're afraid to make that final leap.
Exactly. And Hormozi's very adamant about being direct and confident when you're asking.
Okay.
No need to beat around the bush. You've demonstrated value. You've addressed their needs. Now it's time to clearly and confidently present the opportunity.
So no more dancing around the ask, just confidently lay it out there.
Precisely.
Okay.
But what happens if, despite all your efforts, the prospect still says no?
Right.
That's where his looping technique comes in.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this looping.
It's not about arguing or pressuring them to change their mind.
Yep.
Instead, you acknowledge their hesitation, reiterate the value proposition, and then present the opportunity again.
So it's like a gentle nudge,
Yeah.
a way of guiding them towards the decision without being pushy.
Exactly. And Hormozi actually provides some insightful frameworks for addressing some common concerns during this looping process.
You mean those classic objections like price and needing approval from someone else?
Yes. For example, if the price is a concern,
Okay.
instead of getting defensive, he suggests asking, "Is this a lot of money to you?"
Interesting.
This shifts the focus away from the absolute price and towards their own perception of value.
It makes them confront their own beliefs about what's worth investing in.
Exactly.
I like that.
And for concerns about needing approval from like a spouse or a boss,
Right.
he acknowledges the importance of collaboration, but suggests adding, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
That's a bold move. Isn't that risky in some situations?
It certainly depends on the context, but the idea is to empower the prospect to actually take ownership of the decision. And it can be very effective if delivered with the right tone and timing.
So it's about gently nudging them out of their comfort zone and encouraging them to be decisive?
Precisely. And another closing technique he highlights is future pacing.
Okay, haven't heard this one.
This is about painting a vivid picture of what their life will be like after making the purchase.
Okay.
You're helping them to actually visualize those positive outcomes and how their current pain points will disappear.
So it's about tapping into their aspirations and showing them the light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. You're not just selling a product. You're selling a transformation.
This whole conversation is making me realize how much psychology is involved in selling.
Oh, yeah.
It's about understanding human behavior and motivation at a very deep level.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is, but you know what? All these insights aren't just for people in like traditional sales roles.
That's true.
We're all selling in some way, whether we realize it or not.
We are.
You're right. We're constantly trying to persuade, influence, and get people on board with our ideas. Like even just convincing a friend to try a new restaurant, pitching a project at work, negotiating with family members. It's all a form of selling.
Exactly. And what Hormozi's frameworks do is they provide us with a structure for actually doing that more effectively.
Okay.
Think about the power of belief.
Okay.
If you're truly passionate about an idea, that conviction will come through in your communication and people will be more likely to get on board.
It's about authenticity, just like in those one-on-one sales interactions.
Precisely. And the same goes for storytelling. Instead of just stating facts, try weaving in a personal anecdote that illustrates your point.
Right.
It makes your message more relatable and memorable.
It's like that time I tried to convince my family to go on a camping trip.
Uh,
I could have just listed all the benefits of being in nature, but instead I told them about this amazing camping trip I went on as a kid,
right.
and suddenly they were all in.
There you go. You tapped into their emotions and made the idea tangible.
Yeah.
Remember, people are more likely to be persuaded by emotions than by logic alone.
And what about the power of asking questions?
Yeah.
We talked about how it's so crucial in those initial sales conversations, but how does that translate to our everyday interactions?
It's about showing genuine interest in the other person's perspective.
Okay.
Instead of just dominating the conversation, ask thoughtful questions and truly listen to their answers.
Right.
It not only helps you understand their needs and concerns, but it also builds rapport and makes them feel heard.
It's like the difference between a one-sided lecture and a genuine conversation.
Exactly. And remember the power of framing.
Yeah.
Just like you can reframe objections in a sales conversation, you can reframe your message in any interaction to emphasize the positive and minimize those perceived negatives.
So instead of saying we have to cut back on spending,
Right.
I could say let's find creative ways to stretch our budget and still enjoy life.
It's about focusing on the desired outcome and making it feel achievable.
This is all so insightful. It's like Hormozi's sales philosophy is actually a blueprint for effective communication in all areas of life.
It's about connecting with people, understanding their motivations, and presenting your ideas in a way that resonates.
But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about these one-on-one interactions, but what if you're thinking bigger?
Yeah.
What if you want to scale your efforts,
Mm-hmm.
build a team, and reach a wider audience?
That's where Hormozi's insights on building and managing a high-performing sales team come in.
Okay, I'm ready to level up. Let's dive into that next. We've covered a lot of ground, from individual sales techniques to the art of building a high-performing team,
Right.
but there's one piece of the puzzle we haven't really tackled yet.
Okay.
Marketing.
Uh-huh.
How do we take Hormozi's principles and apply them to reaching a wider audience?
It's fascinating how many parallels there actually are between selling one-on-one and marketing to the masses.
Hmm.
In essence, marketing is just selling at scale.
Okay, so instead of persuading one person at a time, you're trying to connect with a whole group of potential customers.
Exactly. And all those core principles we discussed,
Right.
belief, storytelling, asking questions, they all translate beautifully to the marketing realm.
So if I'm passionate about my product, that genuine enthusiasm will resonate with my target audience, even if I'm not talking to them directly.
Absolutely. People are drawn to authenticity.
Mm.
They can sense when a brand is truly passionate about what they offer, and that creates a powerful connection.
It reminds me of some of my favorite brands.
Yeah.
They have a story, a mission, something that makes them stand out from the crowd.
That's a great point. Storytelling is essential in marketing.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just list features and benefits.
Right.
You need to create a narrative that resonates with your audience's values and aspirations.
I remember reading somewhere that facts tell, but stories sell.
Exactly. Stories tap into our emotions and make information more memorable.
Hmm.
Think about those commercials that tell a heartwarming story instead of just focusing on the product itself.
Right.
Those are the ones that stick with you.
Okay. So we've got belief and storytelling.
Yeah.
What else can we borrow from Hormozi's sales playbook and apply to marketing?
Well, just like in a sales conversation, understanding your audience is paramount.
Right.
You wouldn't try to sell a luxury car to someone who's on a tight budget, right?
Makes sense. You need to know who you're talking to and what their needs are.
Exactly. It's about identifying your ideal customer and crafting a message that resonates with their specific pain points, desires, and aspirations.
So a lot of research and analysis goes into effective marketing. You need to really dig deep into your target markets, demographics, psychographics, and buying behaviors.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
You're constantly gathering data, refining your understanding, and adjusting your approach as you learn more.
This is making me realize that marketing is so much more than just creating catchy slogans or posting on social media.
Yeah,
It's a strategic discipline that requires a deep understanding of human psychology.
you're hitting the nail on the head, and here's another key parallel.
Okay.
The importance of engaging in a two-way conversation.
Okay.
Remember how Hormozi emphasized asking questions in sales?
Yes. It was all about uncovering needs and turning obstacles into opportunities for deeper understanding.
Well, that same principle applies to marketing.
Hmm.
Instead of just broadcasting your message, invite your audience to participate.
Right.
Ask questions on social media, conduct surveys, run polls, get people talking and sharing their thoughts and opinions.
It's about creating a dialogue instead of a monologue. Makes sense. People are more likely to connect with a brand that actually listens to them.
Exactly, and that feedback is invaluable.
Yeah.
It helps you refine your message, tailor your offerings, and build stronger relationships with your customers.
Okay. This is all starting to come together, but let's not forget about the practical side of things.
Right.
Hormozi talks a lot about scaling and leverage in the context of sales. How do those principles translate to marketing?
It's about finding ways to amplify your message and reach a wider audience without working yourself to the bone.
So how do we achieve that kind of leverage in marketing?
He talks about leveraging technology and automation. Think about email marketing automated webinars, pre-recorded sales presentations. These tools allow you to reach a large number of people with a consistent message without having to manually interact with each individual.
That's where digital marketing comes and social media, search engine optimization, content marketing. There are so many avenues for reaching your target audience online.
It's an exciting time to be a marketer, but even with all these amazing tools at our disposal, it's crucial to remember that marketing is ultimately about building genuine human connections.
So it's not about bombarding people with ads or spamming their inboxes. It's about crafting a message that resonates and creating a brand experience that people truly value.
It's about building relationships, fostering trust, and creating a community around your brand.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've explored Hormozi's sales philosophy in depth and discovered how its core principles can be applied to everything from one-on-one interactions to building a high-performing team to marketing your products or services to the world.
It's amazing how interconnected these concepts are, isn't it?
Absolutely. Whether you're trying to close a deal, persuade a friend, or build a thriving business, it all comes down to understanding people, building relationships, and communicating effectively.
And that's what makes this work so rewarding.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Well,
I encourage you to revisit Hormozi's video, explore these concepts further, and most importantly, start experimenting with these principles in your own life and work.
remember, knowledge is only powerful when it's put into action. So go out there, be bold, be authentic, and see what amazing things you can achieve.
And until next time, keep diving deep.